The lesson.
Oh yeah.
So then that's the second release, I guess the first official. But if you count the demo,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you
second piece of
your second
work.
piece of physical product that we
Yeah.
ever pushed out into this cold hard world.
And then the third one was, or the next one was,
Eurosurf.
and you signed to Obese.
Yeah,
for
so that
one.
was like a distribution deal, I guess you'd say. So basically, yeah, they took a little cut off the top to put it in stores because it's just easier to get them to do it, right? Like they had the octopus
machine.
tentacles out there, and we didn't. So yeah, that was cool.
So is that basically all the distro deal is just a label will say, hey,
Yeah,
we'll get your
for us it
album.
was like I don't know, I'm not
so
well
it
versed enough in
varies,
this
yeah.
now, like who knows what it is now.
But for you guys,
but for what we did was basically, like we'll sign a distro thing with you, and all it is we did everything else, right? Like I'm sure there are versions where they do everything else and then they take more of your money.
Yeah.
But for us, we did everything. Like we paid for, mixing, mastering, physical product, and then we just send them boxes of CDs and vinyl, and they'd get it into stores here and there, and then kind of come back to us with money once they'd sold X amount, so they'd take however much per unit, and we'd get, the rest. And yeah, so that worked for us. Like for us, it was never, like, oh, we're going to make heaps of money from this. We just wanted it out. And as long as we were covering our costs and maybe making, enough that we could do another record, we're good. Most of your money comes from the shows anyway, because that's just your money.
yeah. And then when you've signed the distro deal to Obese, and now obviously this record has more exposure.
Yeah, it's got more push out there, right?
Did you notice that, your profile nationally got bigger, or sales went?
Yeah, definitely. Because I guess the first one, it's a bit like, who are these guys? Like people who knew us would know us, because obviously out and about and going to shows, so you kind of, you meet all the right people when you're just hanging out. But around the rest of the country, then yeah. So, some people would have heard that first one, definitely. Like we got it into some shops here and there in other states. But with the second one, because Obese pushed it out, and like this was when I was hiphop.com was like in its prime. We're pushing it there, and, community radio. Like we were never like big, you know what I mean? But, we were big enough that we could go around the country and do little shows and stuff like that. Mostly we just did support acts. We were never real ambitious, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, someone, like we'll get the support gig at wherever in Melbourne or something, you know what I mean? And that was good enough. We just wanted to go and do it. Never like, we're going to be musicians for a job. Well, I never was. I was just like, I just want to go do this shit.
Yeah, word. And then was that 04?
Yeah, that was released in 04.
And then
according to the internet that I looked at before. According to my brain, it could have been any time.
And then the one after that was the last one.
Yeah.
That's Darker Days.
That was 11.
So there's a bit of a gap.
It was a huge gap. Yeah. So don't ask me why. I don't know why. Basically, we started working on Darker Days a long time before it came out, and it was going nowhere. It was just kind of, I don't know, I was stuck in procrastination hell. I was kind of losing my interest in rap, not in rap, but like in just doing it, like in being a rapper or whatever. And other people are just doing other things. They got other stuff going on in their life, and it just kind of hit this procrastination hell. And I actually was like, this is never coming out, And I was like, I'm done with this, not like in an angry way, but it's just like I'm over. I'm done. And I told the guys, I was like, look, if you finish this, sweet, you know what I mean? Like I'll do any show you need me to do. But like I've done all my verses, it's going nowhere. You know what I mean? Like I reckon it's probably just time to call it.
Yeah.
But they kind of pushed through and got it done and released it. And I actually really liked that record. But it never really took off because the heart wasn't in it. Mine wasn't anyway. I'm not
But
going to
also-
speak about other people's hearts. But
Different time, you know, like if you step
Yeah.
away, music, you only have to step away for 6-12 months.
yeah,
You
it
know what I mean?
very quickly become irrelevant, especially when it's, you know, in that Big Bang sort of.
Shit's changing
Yeah, it's
like
just
every
like,
6,
there's
12 months.
100 new groups now than there was 7 years ago. So yeah, I mean, by the time we dropped it, I think, you know, like some of the people had been around a while, probably like, oh yeah, cool, check that out. But it wasn't. If we'd have dropped it, you know, 6 years earlier, it probably would have been a much better idea.
Retrospect. Eh?
Yeah, that's right. Hindsight is 2020.
So I guess so. You know, the last official After Hours release was
Yeah,
that one.
That was it.
So
That
it's
was the
been
last
9
one.
years, nearly 10.
Yep.
And you know, here we are, almost 10
Here
years
we are
later,
talking about
it.
A bunch of old men.
And I guess that's, you know, in a nutshell, the After Hours, you know, run from your seat.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know, we were never like a massive group, but we were kind of just there for it all, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we were one of the sort of initial crews in Certified Wise, because that was another thing that kind of just kept growing as well. Kind of started with just a few of us in terms of a few groups, not a few people, because there's quite a few people. But then it was like, oh, you know, we're down with these guys. They can get in there, and oh, this guy's good. Let's get him in, and it was just kind of like that. And it was cool to be. It was a privilege to be a spectator to it all, I guess. Like, you know, and playing a small part, but just watching it, like, man, watching, you know, for example, like the Hoods blow up. You know, now it's just taken for granted that they're massive, but you know, like the first time they got played on like Nova or something, you know, it was like Hoods on Nova, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit, they're on Triple J, you know, like it's just like now it's
Yeah, now you
like
hear them
saying
on the
something
radio.
like that is stupid, you know, like, oh, did you hear the Hoods are on Triple J? Like, yeah, you know, but back then it was just like, what?
The lesson.
Oh, yeah.